Venezuela is going through an economic collapse. Unemployment is at an all-time high, minimum wage is $12.53 a month due to massive inflation, and food shortages have become the norm. This desperate situation has led to mounting tensions and chaos in the streets. Caracas, the nation's capital, is now one of the most dangerous places in the world. But it's not as dangerous as the wilderness in Runescape, where Venezuelans are being hunted down every day. These are just some of the Venezuelans who have resorted to farming gold in RuneScape in order to survive because the conventional job market is so scarce and unreliable in their country. What these Venezuelans are doing is farming green dragons in the wilderness, which is a PvP area. They farm these dragons because they drop dragon bones and green dragon hides, which they can sell on the ground.
Wait, not funny. I think this is actually real, though. I don't think he's joking or anything. I mean, it's made to sound like a joke, but it's actually real.
In exchange for gold. By doing this, they can make around 500,000 RuneScape gold an hour, which translates to roughly 50 cents an hour. And while you may think that 50 cents an hour isn't much, it's really not, it is better than poverty. An article by an author named Fizzerman explains why farming is worth it for these Venezuelans. More advanced players will know that repetitively killing the boss Zolra can earn around 3 million gold per hour, which is about $2 to $3 an hour. At $2 to $3 an hour, this would allow a teenager or young adult to make more money by playing a video game than the majority of college-educated professionals in the country. That's right, in Venezuela, you don't need an education. You just need RuneScape. What is amazing is the fact that this digital currency still has much more stability than currencies of socialist third world governments. For the past few years, RuneScape currency has steadily remained at a little over $1 per 1 million gold, while Venezuelan currency is depreciating significantly by the day. It's not just Venezuelans either. Vice reported on an American kid who claims to have made over $10,000 a month by farming gold in RuneScape. There was even this Venezuelan article detailing the farming method and how to make money doing it. And according to this Reddit post, that article angered some gold farmers who reportedly issued death threats and doxed the author of the article since he was potentially creating more competition for the farmers. Gold farmers are nothing new to MMO players. The notorious Chinese gold farmers from World of Warcraft were a huge annoyance to millions of WoW players. Similarly to the Venezuelan...
People make memes or people forget what it was like, the Chinese gold farmers things back in the days, okay? They got so advanced, I'm not even kidding about this, by the way. They got so advanced back in the days that they would create mass accounts from some of these websites. They would go in US servers and they would glitch themselves midair, okay? And make their characters die in a way, right? That it would create a floating ad that leads to a website where they sell the gold in the middle of main cities. I'm not even kidding. It was crazy. It was fucking nuts, dude. You would go and would see orcs in Orgrimmar, right? Right next to the hut, and it would make a floating sign. I had never seen anything like it before. And
Chinese gold
kept
farmers
happening.
would do whatever it took to farm and sell gold in order to make a living in the real world. These gold farmers would often spam advertise in chat channels and obnoxiously message people in order to promote
that was one of the strategies he used.
Their gold-selling websites.
G4WAP.
Not only that, but gold farming also impacted the in-game economy. For these reasons, the Chinese gold farmers, much like the Venezuelans, were viewed with disdain by many players. One of the more extreme responses to these Venezuelans was a massive thread on the old-school RuneScape Reddit, which gave a detailed guide on how to disrupt and kill gold farmers. And a lot of the comments on the thread were pretty hateful, and it seems like most people really don't like these gold farmers. I hope you're okay with sending Juan to school with no lunch. It sounds funny, but it could be reality, lol. That's what makes it funny. Loved the part where you explained how to insult them in their native language. 10 out of 10, great guide. I will go commit genocide on those putas and perros. Make sure they suffer IRL financially and psychologically, laughing my fucking ass off. There seems to be some dehumanizing going on in response to these gold farmers.
Hello?
It's sort of an interesting experiment in human psychology. Because these gold farmers speak a foreign language and they might be annoying some players, they're viewed as the other. There's a clear disconnect between players online and the real lives of others behind a computer screen. This has always been a contributing factor as to why people act differently towards each other online, but in this particular scenario, it can actually affect people's livelihoods. Given all of this madness, I decided to contact a Venezuelan player and hear things from his perspective.
Hola.
Hi.
Hola, mira.
Yeah, guys, I could be wrong with this chat, but I think, guys, that the reality of it is that on the WoW servers anyway, it didn't really impact anybody.
One guy equals chat lol.
The people were I never really saw that many farmers. People actually, I know they were selling the gold, but the farmers, not really. Am I wrong?
Sí, bueno, ya sabrás quién es Greg, ¿no?
Okay.
Does he know any people, any other Venezuelans who do it for a job?
Sí hay algunos que trabajan haciendo esto, pero Jade siempre toma su carta en el asunto y siempre les borra su cuenta. Y eso es lo que evitamos muchos venezolanos, como yo por lo menos. Yo lo que hago es divertirme y quiero subir mi PJ de Runescape y evitar eso. Para evitar eso, evito vender el oro.
Has you ever received a lot of negativity or hate from other players because he's Venezuelan and because he's farming?
Sí, hay algunos países que le tiene rabia a la mayoría de los venezolanos porque piensan que todos juegan para obtener dinero y la mayoría es falso. Pues sí hay algunos que otros, pero no somos todos.
There are RuneScape players who are writing guides on how to kill farmers and specifically Venezuelan farmers. What does he think about that? Does that make him feel sort of targeted in the community?
Ah, sí, ese por, como te dije, que hay gente que le tiene rabia a los venezolanos, que se la pasan más que todo en green, porque piensan que están haciendo es dinero y están perjudicando al juego en sí, pues ajá, y entonces piensan que todos los venezolanos son los iguales.
Even between the Venezuelans, there's a lot of competition.
32 months lost in the jungle.
Interesting. This is actually kind of interesting, though.
Que también le tenemos rabia a esos otros venezolanos que porque también nos perjudican.
Nah, guys, I want to make fun of this. Guys, I feel like there's a lot of elements here to deconstruct. And have a lot. You have a lot of perspective on this. There's so many branches of thought behind this. I feel like it. I mean, it's not. Well, it makes you reconsider what is a game. What is a game? There's terms of service that say that you can't sell gold. Is some people saying gold justified because they're struggling or not? Do you justify this or that? Are you okay with certain? Like, I'm not for anything. I'm not for or against anything. I'm not being weird. I'm just telling you that these are questions that arise from these things. There's no.
As ridiculous as it may sound, clicking on these dragons may be the only source of income for some Venezuelans. But in order to make a profit, these Venezuelans must first sell their gold, and that's where these gold-selling websites come into play. Take the professionals at papusgold.com, for example. They deal in Bitcoin and RuneScape 2007 gold. You know, the next major player on the market. And they even have a listing of all of the employees on the website. These are the starving faces of the hard-working Venezuelan gold farmers. These are the people you're hurting when you mess with them farming green dragons. Just look into their eyes. You have Maukaisius, the CEO. He looks like a hard-working and professional businessman, the brains of the operation. And Kathy looks like she's on the verge of tears, but she's still hanging on. What a brave soul. And we have Jesus. If Venezuela ever needed a miracle from God, now would be the time. And finally, gone. Because if this gold-selling business doesn't work out, all hope is gone.
Jesus Christ.
Venezuela is going through some hard times right now, and for some, farming green dragons in RuneScape is their only means of survival. Behind these pixels are real people with real families dealing with real struggles. Unless they're bots, in which case they're computer programs. But most of these players are real Venezuelans and real people who deserve to be treated as such. So
if they're just playing the game and it's such a mild, small inconvenience for people, I don't
find
really see
yourself
the problem.
playing RuneScape and you just so happen to be in the wilderness seeing players farm green dragons, maybe just leave them alone. You might be saving a life.
Mild, yeah, there's just this one dragon. Unless
a little PKing never hurt anyone.
Here's my motherfucking farm! Oh yeah!
Get him!
Oh shit! Oh shit!
I'm a
Gold.
farmer, motherfucker!
What the fuck was that? What the fuck?
Gamba habits.